right. Hi, I'm seeing green bars. Okay, hello and welcome to Plugin Along, a stream dedicated to Lord of the Rings Online plugins. Last time on Plugin Along, we were working on the TitanBar plugin, and we were working on eliminating all of the old two-character codes, like WI for wallet or MC for MithrilCoin, in favor of the new key system. Currently, that's those longer words, wallet, MithrilCoin, LOTRO points, but today we're going to try to swap out those new keys for just the image ID, the underlying image ID of the currency, which will allow us to use the same system for storing these things for both known and unknown currencies. Because one of the few language independent things we can get for something that's in your wallet is the image ID. And so that can be kind of a neutral way to deal with these things. Now, a potential problem with that we can already be thinking forward is what happens if Standing Stone Games changes the image for a currency. Now, we don't see that happen very often. And ultimately, what would happen is that currency just would not show up properly on your TitanBar, probably. I guess we'll find out in the future what kind of problems we get up to that way. But that's the big one, is that if you had a currency on your bar, it would still be there, but it would be weird. We'll have to think about that some more as we do this system. But barring any changes to underlying image IDs, which again don't happen very often, this will be a nice language independent way of doing this. So you don't have an English version of this in your save file and a French and a German. That being said, now that I think about it, TitanBar does a lot of storing of stuff in an English version, a French version, a German version of file, which is its own problem that I don't like. So that'll be something for the future, maybe. Okay, so like I said, today we're going to work on updating those image ID values into those keys. As always, though, feel free to jump into chat with your thoughts and questions. I know there was an active discussion during Little Redhead's stream just before me, so feel free. If it's a question about Lord of the Rings in general, totally fine. It does not have to be about plugins or even coding. Anything's on the table regarding the game. I might even know the answers for some of those. We're standing here in Dol Amroth, the great city of Western Gondor, with our goose. I found a way to get up on one of the roofs above the Court of the Fount. So we're just going to look down upon all the peasants down there. Cool. Okay, so first of all, what is TitanBar? Now, I just recently removed a bunch of plugins from my plugin directory. So whenever you change plugins while LOTRO is running, do remember you'll need to hit this little green arrow in the plugin manager, or I believe there is a /plugins space refresh command line parameter that you can type into the chat there. So /plugins space refresh, or hit the screen arrow button, and that tells LOTRO to go look at your plugins directory. Otherwise, it's not keeping an eye on it for changes, either additions or deletions. So it's up to you to tell LOTRO, hey, go take a peek, see what you find. So all those other ones are gone. We just have TitanBar. So what's up with TitanBar? Well, on the face of it, not a lot when you first load it up, but it's very configurable. In fact, I want to pull in the configuration that has all of the currencies on the bar so we can play with that. So what I'm going to do is I have saved that off. So every currency on the bar, there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and I've unloaded all my plugins. That's very important. And we're going to go into Documents, Lord of the Rings Online, into the plugin data directory, and blow that away in favor of this one. Now, I caution you, don't just blow away your plugin data directory unless you know what you're doing. I have a backup of everything important that was in my plugin data directory. So this is just if you are a plugin author and you are working on a specific plugin, it's very convenient to have snapshots of plugin data files that you can plop in there. But my actual real plugin data files are safely in another position, which gives me the freedom to do this. And once I'm done streaming today, I'll move all of that back in for all the characters and all the servers and all the accounts back in place. And that's just so I don't mess up my live plugin data files with experimental ones that we're in the middle of changing. Okay, so let's go ahead and load this back up, and we can see this setting has a bunch of different things up here on the bar. In this case, we're working with the wallet feature, so these are all the different currencies that TitanBar knew about before we started mucking about. Awesome. Okay, so let's minimize these down. So that's TitanBar. TitanBar is currently showing me the symbol for currencies and the values, how much I have of those, and that corresponds to things. So for instance, if I do a search for badges of dishonor and taste, I have 375 of them, and that makes a lot of sense. You tend to get them in pairs, and the fact that I've spent them down in even numbers is coincidental. Okay, so they correspond to these two entries here, badges of taste, badges of dishonor, and we can see as a heads up display, I can see that I have 375 of them without having to go into my wallet and find them. And you may find, if you play a character a lot, you will have a lot of things in your wallet. I have possibly hundreds of things in my wallet here. And so finding a specific thing, yeah, you can do it with a search. Okay, badge, cool, I can find all three of the things called badges, but then if I want to see that, also I want to see my embers of enchantment, and I also want to see this other thing. This starts becoming a very unwieldy interface. And so that's a problem that TitanBar is trying to solve is, okay, what are the things in your wallet that you actually care about? Problem, TitanBar falls behind. New things get added to the collection of things that can go in your wallet all the time. So, that's just to bring anyone up to speed who's watching this who is not familiar with what TitanBar does. Cool. So, where are we? Let's go ahead and pull up two things. We're going to pull up the source code, and in this case, there's a to-do file that I'm tracking things in. And let's bring up our source control. Right now, I'm using Git repository using fork from fork.dev as the UI interface. And we can see there's currently one change in my working directory. This is actually a bug I was seeing somewhere. Somehow, I got into this function here in functions.lua. Let's go ahead and pull that up, actually. Functions.lua. I was in the update money function, and certain global values, in this case, the total amount of gold, silver, and copper had not been set yet, so they were nil values. And we can see this is getting called in a couple of different places. Thing that triggers an obvious memory for me about why this would be a problem. Uncertain. So I'm not sure why this function was getting called, but we were in here and we were trying to call a formatting with a straight up format with a value of gold total. Why is that a problem? Well, if gold total is nil, then you get an exception saying, hey, gold total is nil. But what you can do in Lua is just say gold total or 0. That is to say, if gold total is falsy, nil or false or some other value like that, go ahead and just use 0. If it's not a number looking thing above 0, use 0. And so we can avoid that. Better might be to figure out why it was happening in the first place. I don't know if I have the time and patience for that. But for whatever reason, it was happening. And so that was just a fix of, okay, yeah, it would be better if we knew that this was always going to be initialized. In fact, let me do a quick little search. Where on earth is gold total? So it's initialized in a function called save player money. And these are global values that are initialized. And the other thing that we could just do is say, okay, if you're going to initialize the global values here, go ahead and have them be initialized somewhere else. Now, my preference would actually be for these to be local values, but then this other place wouldn't be able to use them. And so, okay, fine. They're global values, not super thrilled with that, but if they are going to be global values, then they shouldn't be initialized in a function that isn't necessarily called yet. So if we track down every place where we had the update wallet and the save player money and kind of figured out when is it possible to encounter the one over the other, that could be a thing. I'm not going to really worry about these right now. Maybe I'll save them off. Maybe I'll stash them You know what? Maybe I'll stash them. Okay, fix for gold tot, silver tot, copper tot not being initialized. Yeah. So saved it off as a stash. Stashes are listed on the bottom left of this user interface, behind my head normally. And they are little bits of changes that we don't necessarily want to throw away, but we don't want to be working with right now. So if I go ahead and reload TitanBar, I still don't know how I got that error message, but that's okay. If it were a common enough error message, it would have been found already, right? So it's probably some edge case somehow. Okay, so we have two branches that are currently working on. One is the consolidation of shorter codes and longer keys that we were doing last time. Now we only have keys, wallet, MithrilCoin, whatever, all one word. And we have the updated user interface, which changes this list of fixed values into a list of everything that you have in your wallet. And now that raises an interesting question, because originally I thought maybe it is useful to be able to add things that are not in your wallet to be tracked. And I think in principle, maybe it is, but it complicates the code in a couple of ways. First of all, we need to prepare a list of things that TitanBar knows about, and then account for things in your wallet that TitanBar doesn't know about. And the only reason I find that really compelling is being able to sort things in the UI according to their category, which we don't have just within the API. So, okay, yeah, I'm convinced. I've convinced myself that that was the right thing to do. But right now, in the new user interface, we add everything and then we filter out the things that aren't in your wallet. And I'm concerned about whether or not that's a performance problem. So we're going to be playing around with the performance with a little while. This is my completionist character who has the most things in their wallet of any of my characters probably. And so hopefully if something is taking an inordinate amount of time, maybe it's those item preview controls that we can at least provide options of do that or don't do that. Maybe you do want to be, if you don't ever want to link these things in a chat or whatever, then it's not worth whatever performance cost there might be. So we're going to be thinking about that. Okay, so just to revisit where we are, I'm going to go ahead and unload TitanBar. Switch over to the TreeView version and come back in and load TitanBar. And so just to remember where we were, the new, and we can see there's that little bit of a delay there as it's populating 500 entries into here or whatever. The new window is designed to look very similar to the old window within the constraints of how big it was. So we can see we start with coin. We don't include gold, silver, copper here. I don't know how much I care about that. But then we go down to festivals and events, and we can see exactly the same information in the same order and the same coloring of things that are character-specific or account-wide. And the count of all those things. We also have at the bottom... Right. Don't delete that. We can also see at the bottom if we remove some things, so we have like unknown currencies. We also have at the bottom unknown to TitanBar. I've deleted MithrilCoin and Yule Festival tokens from its memory, so now we can see those just show up unknown to TitanBar. So we don't have the same item preview control that lets us embed an item count on top of it and make it shareable in chat, but you still get the image and you still get the name and whether it's account wide or character specific. Cool. Okay. Little Redhead I see in chat agrees with me that the Gondor music also being music, or some of the Gondor music that they use also being in the egg hunt in the Shire is weird, because for some of us, we've been spending hours and hours doing egg hunts. Then we finally arrive in Gondor and it's like, what? Why am I hearing egg hunt or mushroom hunt or whatever music from the Shire? That makes no sense. I imagine for a lot of people they encountered it the other way around, and so it's the Shire version that seems surreal, but no, it's Shire music that's ending up in Gondor for some reason. Okay, so one of the reasons I want to get the count off of these item previews is things like, look at the shards. I have 17,176, but we can see that this thing caps out at about 5 things on it, and we can see there's a comma in there taking up space. And so we just can't see all of the information, and that's definitely true of my universal ingredient packs. My 31,711, it just does not fit on that preview. So once we make this window wider, we'll be able to take advantage of the format that we see here with a min-max, or a current/max if there is a max, or just a current if there's no limit to how many you can have. Okay, so we've done a review of where we are at. So what we want to do is return to the non-UI updated version, and we're going to go ahead and reload this. And we can see we have the old window that just has the hard-coded list of currencies. And this is where we want to go ahead and move away from an internal key that spells out what something is, like MithrilCoin or Yule Festival token, towards something that is language agnostic. So we can't just use MithrilCoin, which we can get from our wallet item. And let me actually pull up the API here while we're musing about this. Okay, so in the API, if you go to the turbine.gameplay, go to wallet item, this is what we are restricted to. Is we have a description, language dependent. We have the max quantity, not very helpful in figuring out what we have. We have the name, also going to be the localized version of that, so English, French, or German. We have the quantity, not very helpful. We have the large image and small image IDs for it. Small image is actually interesting. I need to come back to that. And it isn't an account item. So basically the only thing in here that is going to be language agnostic is the image ID, or the small image ID. I don't know if we can guarantee that they all have a small image ID. I assume they do. But knowing that they all have a large image ID, we can use that. We can say, okay, you're number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, cool, and we can move forward with that. Okay, so I was musing earlier on save files. Let's come on into Documents, Lord of the Rings Online. In fact, I'm already there over in this window, and come on in to see what we have. So first of all, there is a setting for your LOTRO points, and it looks like this. It just we can't look in your wallet and know how many LOTRO points you have. It's not part of the API. So you can tell us, and then we will track it. And we can then track any points that you earn but not spend. Cool. Okay, let's come look at servers. Server-specific things. What's in your bags? What's in your wallet? No, wallet settings. And how much money that character has. Okay, cool. Wallet stats. Okay, how much you're earning and spending. Awesome. And reputation. Cool. Those are all server-wide storage. And then your character settings stuff, you can see TitanBar settings EN. That makes me so uncomfortable that there's language-specific settings. Especially when we delve in here and we can see that this is your alpha, RGB, X and Y coordinates, where it is, and its visibility. And where it is and its visibility are kind of interrelated concepts for wallet items, but otherwise things are just visible or not, I think. Okay, so this is just the UI layout is what it looks like for all of your items that are on the bar. Now, I can guess that this was saved English, French, or German to bypass the issue that numbers in French or German are going to be written out with a comma versus a semicolon, versus a period for the radix point, depending on your Lua version and the bit of your LOTRO client, 32 or 64-bit language. There's an intermix of those that sometimes it gets written out with a period and sometimes with a comma. And if this is a comma as a string, that's not a problem. But if this is written out as a number and as a comma, suddenly you have two numbers according to Lua syntax. So this is an invalid number, but as a string with a comma, that will be parsed or not parsed, depending on that combination of Lua version and the 32-bit or 64-bit of the client. And there are solutions for that. But when TitanBar was written, there may not have been solutions for that. And so the easiest thing is just to say, okay, English written here, French written here, German written here. You're going to read out and read in based off of the client language. And so you're going to have a completely different layout for where these things are on your bar for each language. But most people are not switching between languages. So it doesn't matter for them. And, you know, it's not my favorite solution to the problem, but I recognize that there was a problem that needed to be solved. And this is a solution for the problem. If I were not focusing only on wallet stuff, this would be a thing that I would fix. I call it fixing. This would be a thing that I would change because, yikes, not a fan. Okay, so, but what we can see here is that the things that we're using for these sections have me concerned that if I open up an old TitanBar file, I'm going to see something different. So what I want to do is I want to come into my archive of older save files before I started mucking with it and see if we can't find something. So backups. I don't know when I started doing this, but it was definitely not, say, beginning of 2013. It's only been a few months. This is like the 11th stream that I've done. There's been some other stuff in there. So it was definitely all 2024. And we're going to come on in here into the same server and the same character and come look at the TitanBar settings here as well. Okay, well, that's interesting. We can see in here that they were indeed using this nicer way of dealing with things. So not GGB, but Gift Giver's brand. So if we can just have a conversion table from what this was to what this should be, then we can update the files in place and not lose any of that good data. And this is the change that we're currently doing is going to be affecting wallet items, but not anything else. So like game time, not touching it. It actually is a concern that I'm now thinking of. Each one of these represents an icon that's on the TitanBar. But if we change to a icon ID, it's not great. Now, if we weren't going to address the English, French, German split between the save files, we could just use the name of the currency from the wallet in those cases where it's in the wallet, or in our predefined list, we have it there as well. Like, not Yule token, but Yule Festival token in quotes, whatever spelling it is. But that makes it much harder to unify the different languages later. And most people are not looking at this file. So what I would actually do is possibly consider adding a dummy entry, like dummy description, or name, really. Or placeholder or something. Placeholder name equals Yule Festival token. Is that the full name of it? I don't actually remember. Yule. Yeah, Yule Festival token. Okay. So we could write that out. It would take up space in the file. It would take up space in every save file. But it would be a way for this to be visually identifiable to someone who is looking at their save file. Because the concern I have, and I keep going back and forth on this, is... Where is that? There we go. The concern is what we're looking at is changing this to this. And that's not a user-friendly thing. It's not even a developer-friendly thing. And by having a placeholder name in there, we could at least identify what we're looking at. Sorry has used an emoji in chat that I do not recognize. But hello. So, yeah, that's the problem. Another problem is I don't think plugin datas give you the capability for comments. So these sort of placeholder, it's just for fun. Okay. I wasn't sure if that was in reflection to just how bad this is. Yeah, so you don't have the ability to place comments in these files. Although if there are comments in there, it's fine, right? Like if we went ahead and had a comment, Yule Festival token, this is fine. And if you're doing a prepared, pre-produced, plugin data file, it's fine. But as soon as LOTRO writes over this file, those comments will be deleted. I don't think there's any way to specify comment this item, this entry with this thing. In the broader Lua ecosystem, when you're not just dealing with a fixed version as a plugin capability for a game, it might be possible to do that kind of thing. But for now, what we have are placeholder entries like this, where you can hold whatever data you want, although you can't make it appear at the beginning. It'll appear wherever it appears, and that can hold whatever description you want. And this is the case for like JSON files as well. If you're sending a JSON file back and forth, I don't think there's a way to put a comment in a JSON file, but you can put a piece of information into a JSON file that is just descriptive of what's going on. And just as long as the code at both ends, the one knows to generate that and the other one knows to ignore it, you're fine. Like, oh, this key starts with placeholder underscore. Great. The value doesn't matter. Skip it. So you can make things a little bit more human readable that way. You know what? JSON might actually have comments. What am I thinking of? Hang on. JSON comment. Nope, according to the spec, JSON does not. Okay, I was thinking about something else then. That is so weird. Someone says it should not include comments because it's intended to be simple, easily parsable data format. You can have comments in a simple, easily parsable data format. Now, you might not have multi-line comments, but you can definitely say, "Oh, I see this character sequence. Stop skip the rest of the line." I disagree with that design choice. Okay, yeah. So just like a JSON data file, a .plugin data, it's just Lua syntax, and comments are allowed in here, but LOTRO won't persist them. So if this is something that LOTRO is writing to, not just reading from, can't count on that. How do I feel about placeholder names? I think we're going to go ahead and use them for now. We can always ditch them later. Okay, so let's come on in here. Include when converting existing, no. Before saving the .plugin data file, make sure each wallet setting has a placeholder name with the current language. What would the name of the thing? Populated from our data files for known items and the wallet name for unknown. Cool. That doesn't actually fix the language independence thing, but this is probably always going to be English. So if you're in a German client, you're going to get German text in the save file, but that's fine because this is not important. We're not doing anything. This is just documentation. Okay, happy with that. Okay, so what can we do with this plan? Actually, stepping back a second, what is going on with this? Oh, Yule token was just Yule token. It wasn't Yule Festival token. Fascinating. Just serves to the arbitrariness of this. So what we want to do is we want to find all these places where we're dealing with a pre-listed currencies, and we want to change these things to their image IDs, which is complicated for wallet. Wallet is not actually currency. I kind of regret including wallet in the currencies because it's not a currency. And I think it has not benefited from being in there. Like, eventually, the things that we're doing to iterate through current... Yeah, no, wallet is not a currency. It's currency adjacent in that it is the thing that lets you stick currencies on here, but it itself is not a currency. Okay, I will continue to think on that. Okay, so for most of these things where we have like destiny points, that's actually a bad example, possibly. Hang on. Destiny points. No. Okay. Why do we have so many things here? Okay, e.g. custom. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of custom stuff for destiny points. Cool. Okay, so for each of these things in here, what we would like is we would like to genericize it to an ID. But there are places in code that want to refer to some of these things. And so just having a number is going to be a problem. So let's step back a sec. We have this list of things here. Is it still being used? And if so, why? We need the capitalization to be the same. Oh, that's the maintenance file. Okay. This is the actual thing. That's fine. Those are different. Oh, wallet item bracket would actually narrow down the search a lot better. Okay, so make wallet control icon. This is in the wallet control factory, but we could use the wallet instead. We should use the wallet instead. Let's just look back at that. Okay, so the label is now, because table label, we're setting that text somewhere else. Okay. Um, where are we setting this thing? There we go. Now that's the quantity. Of course, it's the tooltip where this matters. Okay. And that tooltip is handled here. Okay. Tooltip. Don't care about the case now. The show tooltip when is able to take the key, and if it's a currency, get currency tooltip. It's looking those up. Of course it is. Okay. Okay. Okay, so places we want to address this. Let me just make some notes here. Places where we use the wallet item image ID table. And this is going to be wallet control factory in this function here. What else? The generic currency sample we can ignore because it's just a sample. In LOTRO points, and in wallet tooltip. Really? What's wallet tooltip? Oh, yes, because if we change something, we're going to do money. Something that's in the tooltip, okay. Cool. Okay, so these three places are using that wallet that we care about. Now, wallet item dot. Okay, so all the uses are using that notation. Cool. And if we right click and we say find all references, my hope is that we'll see something very similar. Let's see what the parser has found. Cool. Yeah, naming this wallet item when Turbine has its own thing called wallet item was a bold move. Okay, so we have that, that here, and the actual definition. Cool. We have identified the 3+1 common thing that we care about. Awesome. So what are we going to do here? My instinct this might be several phases, but just sort of talk through what I'm thinking of here. My instinct might be to have global variables, essentially, that look like this. Destiny points equals that. And then currencies, instead of the quoted destiny points, you would say the entry is actually this integer value, or hex, sorry, this number value. In hex, it's 0x4100. In integer, it's 10905. I'm not sure what the scale of that is. But in code, you would still see it as destiny points. And the way I might start with this is actually just do these as quotes. Do these as strings to start. And kind of walk through what does it look like to find any place that is quote destiny points and get rid of it. So here, custom currency with offsets is destiny points. No, that's destiny points. Now, under the string, under covers, is that destiny points? It is, and that's fine. So I guess that's where I'm starting from, is to say, what would that look like? But let's come back into our source control, see how clean we are right here. Actually, we're going to get rid of those currency deletions, so we have a cleaner thing. That's funny. There's that fix. Okay, just a to-do file. Okay, we're going to save that off. To-do file, oops, to-do file changes. Cool. Save that. And we have a clean working directory. Okay. So that's the starting point, is by converting these into variables, we get, I think, two benefits. It's going to be easier to change the underlying value from a string to that number that we want it to be. And also with a variable, you can do semantic analysis where you can just find all references. And that might help us as well. Like, yes, you can find all quoted strings, and it's, you find a lot of them, but are they references to this? Maybe, probably. Okay, so wallet and money are going to be a pain. Let's start with destiny points. And we can actually just redo that change that we did here. Now what we want to do is find any quoted destiny points and get rid of the quotes. Just see what happens. So we're looking for quote destiny points. Cool. Nope, cannot do that one. All right, question number 1. Does that even work? If we refresh TitanBar, do we get an error message? We do get an error message. Probably that one that I messed up somehow. Oh, I didn't actually do a save all. But let's go on into functions CTR 691 and make sure, yeah, okay, did finish that string. So let's reload. Good. Actually saving all the files I changed, much better. And do we see destiny here somewhere? We do. These are your destiny points. Awesome. So if we search for destiny points now, that string only exists here. Everywhere else, we have a reference to this, which means if we change the value of this to something else, and my goodness, I keep losing it. TV resources, let's pin that. Thank you. If we change the value of that to this, my expectation is that it would continue to work. Is that true? I don't actually know. Let's find out. Reload. It is not true in the sense of the save file not having that value. If we unload this, come back in to our save file, and replace that here, and then load this back in. All right, that didn't work. Okay. Apparently, we're going to need more than one update location. Let's go look at that wallet factory. Oh, of course. Because wallet item key, yeah, okay. Now that's interesting. I know there's a function that's like is number. Lua test if number. I don't want the type. Test if string contains number. I'm doing this off on the other screen. More real estate. To number. Sure. To number. If to number key, then image equals maybe. If image num, then we want to set the background with that. Else, and I wonder if we could just do that. Tell me more, TitanBar. Ooh, hello. Okay, so knowing that we might be storing image numbers there, we can preemptively say if that string is a number, treat it as an image number, set it as the background. If it's not a number, look it up in this table. And as we continue adjusting code, that eventually drops off and we just have number. Okay, that's promising. So, what does that say? That tells us if we have, what is this? Nope, don't care about that. If we have a way to adjust the save file value. So we need a function that looks at this and looks for these old values and converts them to new values as we're doing this. And it'd be nice if it was flexible enough that I can do it piecemeal. So where do we load the save file, and do we already do any updates that we can kind of piggyback off of? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I'm in. Was in main. Turbine.plugin.load. Yes, please. This is all over the place. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I want plugin data.load. Okay, so we're in settings.lua, and this is the player stuff. These are the load settings. Okay. Load settings. In this load settings file is where we would want to do any updating from an old file version to a new file version. In some plugins, this process starts getting pretty extensive. For instance, in Deed Tracker, the plugin data save file format has gone through massive changes. And so there's a whole versioning system of, what version is it? What version are we going to? I'm not sure that we are there yet. But it feels like it's never too late to kind of start that process. So much hard-coded stuff to store in there. I have ideas on that. That's for a later day. Okay. In the load settings, after we check the language version, so we determined what file we have loaded, or rather the data structure that was in the file that is now loaded, and we've checked it for nil, and we've made sure if it was nil, it's now initialized. Hey, what's up, little one? Yeah, come on. Yeah. Not looking for attention? You think I'm going to pick you up and show you to the world? You might be right. All right. Well, you do what you're doing. Come on. You are ridiculous. Scratch. There we go. You probably won't like that at all. No, you didn't like that at all. I had to pick you up from so far away. Yeah. Okay. Here. Thanks for putting up with my insistence on picking you up. I don't know if training her with cat treats works that way, but I have hope. Okay. So we know that we have a setting here. So here is check if file needs updating. So how do we do that? We have a function, update settings, if necessary. So let's just call that update settings. Nope, update settings if necessary. And this is character settings. It's helpful given that there's 3 different places you can save settings in a different a character instance: character level, server level, or yeah, I think account level is correct way to describe it. So character, server, and account. Given that there's those 3 places that you can store stuff, anytime you're talking about setting, just do yourself a favor. This is character settings. And in fact, that comment, probably not necessary because we named our function so verbosely. Okay, so because we have hard-coded everything that we're expecting to see in the setting file, we can actually get away with something that we might have a little bit harder time. So check for version number. local version equals nil. Actually, I want to just do a function block here while I'm thinking about this. So, updates the character settings from version 1.0 to current. And settings is getting a table. Okay. That's about all we can say about it. Okay, so version, we're going to say that that is settings.version. Because what's going to happen is we want to see in this file something that looks like version equals 1.1. And the first thing we can do is we can say if there is no version, then it is version 1.0. So we can come on in here and say if version, if not version, then version equals 1.0. End. And then if version equals 1.0, then update to version 1.1, for example. And if version equals 1.1, then update to version 1.2. And you just do this. And this allows you to take any old TitanBar file, well, plugin file, in this case it's for TitanBar, and plop it in here, and TitanBar can just sequentially update the data structure to bring it to the present version so that when it writes it out, it's written out a new version of this. There's probably, I shouldn't say probably, there are more sophisticated ways to do versioning, I am sure, but this is just sort of a methodical, whatever version you throw at us, throw us a version 1.1, and if the current version was 1.5, we have steps to update it from each stage to the next one. So if each update is correct, then any input file will give you a correct current output file. That's the goal. At this point, I think we only have 1.0 and 1.1. So we're going to go ahead and do this, update to 1.1, and then we can say settings.version equals 1.1. These setting numbers don't necessarily mean anything, but in general, if you have a breaking change to your save file, like literally the program will either not load or will be in a really bad state, that's the kind of thing where you might do a major version bump. Not 1.0, but 2.0. And then if you're doing minor things, like we're just changing the name of some of these icons. So worst case, you just won't see your icon on the top bar. Okay. And so that feels more like a minor bump. Could be convinced either way. It doesn't really matter. These are internal numbers for the most part. Though sometimes I'll put them in the release notes as well. Okay, so update to version 1.1. In this update, the currencies are stored by, are indexed with image ID instead of a human readable key. Change old values to new and add a placeholder text to make it more legible. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to set up a lookup table for this. So local v10 to 11 lookup table. Let me use underscores to make this a little bit more readable. Version 10 to 11 lookup table. Periods or commas are not allowed in variable names, and so the instinct might be like 1.0, 1, we'll just we'll understand as software developers that we're in a function called updating 1.0 to 1.1, that's what this is referencing. which will only be confused if we're ever going from a version 10 to 11. That's long down the road. So future me can look back past me and say, oh, what was he thinking? Okay, so we have a lookup table equals. What is this table? This table is going to be this. Because this is going to disappear from code, we need to encapsulate it in here somehow. And what we want to do is we're going to get rid of all this icon equals stuff. In fact, we're going to get rid of the braces as well. And we need to add quotes and mark them as keys. And yeah, I think that's it. So we're going to go ahead and import that in here. So anytime we see one of these things as the key of an entry in the table, we're going to replace it with this and then use this as the comment of what it is that we're talking about. Cool. That's the principle. So for key value in that version 10 lookup table, do end. And I'll actually spell it out. That is the key, and that is the image ID. Okay, and so what we want to do is if this key exists in the save file, which again, it's going to look like that. Maybe I will go ahead and bring this over. Don't care about that. Close it. Okay, so if that key exists over here, if settings.key, settings bracket key, because we need to use variable substitution. We're not looking for something literally called key. So if that exists, then we want settings of image ID to be equal to settings key, and then settings key to be equal to nil. And then remember to add that placeholder text. So settings of image ID, placeholder name, or maybe description, equals, and that's going to be key. Now, will that actually persist? In these cases, initialize control settings, initialize default control settings. So if it's nil, then it comes in here. So we're only dealing with existing ones, so that's not a problem. And then all of these things, and then the global control settings. Yeah, all that's fine. Just making sure the value will be persisted. Okay, so where are my changes? We are in line 250-ish. Cool. So that's the general idea, but we did want to do remove, no, local is setting present equals can I coerce a value to Boolean? What does the internet say about this? To Boolean. Sure, Lua to Boolean. What does that look like? Converts variable to Boolean. Yeah, let's look at that. To Boolean. And we're looking for settings of key. Does that exist? Undefined. All right, settings are key or false. With the idea that this is going to be evaluated, and if it is not nil, then it'll be something. That's cool. No. Not. That's really what I want. I'm not even sure that's what I want. Okay, so the other thing we want is... The reason I say that, though, if this is a value, then not's going to be false, and then not's going to be true, so it's present. And if this is nil, then not that is going to be true, and not that is going to be false. So if that is legal syntax, not entirely sure it is, then that should coerce it into a Boolean. And I'm comfortable using it, but maybe that's okay. Okay, so we have... Yeah, because what I would look for is Lua course table or nil to Boolean. Yeah, well, cool. The other half of this was, we'll call, is currency transitioned equals, and then we're looking for this thing in, I think it was actual currencies, equals currencies key not currencies key. So currencies, currently, Destiny is not in there. So it is transitioned. So if is that what it was called? Destiny points, cool. Okay, so we're gonna see Destiny points is not in the currencies listing, because that's going to be that. Okay, so if is setting present and is currency transitioned, then do this thing. Otherwise, we're not there yet. Now, this would eventually, so to do delete this, it's only during develop, only needed during development. So we can do one currency at a time. Delete this, what? The next line. And then when we delete that, we'll delete this checked, and it'll just be, is it present? Okay. Well, what do we think of that? Let's go ahead and updating character setting TitanBar character setting file to be 1.1. Okay, let's go ahead and reload here. Okay, we have an error, possibly more. Wallet tooltip and setting. Okay, let's go into setting. Okay, settings is nil because we didn't actually pass it. That will be a problem. Let's try that again. All right, updating TitanBar character settings to version 1.1, but then we go ahead and crash on line 287. Attempt to call a table value. Right, because I didn't actually do like pairs of that table or something. I really wish this syntax was valid. Like there's an implicit understanding that if you're trying to iterate through a table, then fine. But that's just not how Lua works. For Lua, you do need to specify the pairs or iPairs function in a loop like this. Let's try that again. Great. We can see here that nothing worked except for Destiny, which is fantastic. So let's go ahead and unload this and check out what's going on in that save file. Oh, goodness. Now, those numbers are being saved out as decimal, which I'm not a fan of, both because it complicates things and it's fine though. But we do see the description. That's Farmer's Fair token, that's Jewel token. We're getting that. Ancient script, badge of dishonor, all of that's working great. What's not working is the actual loading of these settings. And also when we hover over there, wallet tooltip 45, I think that's strange. So let's come on in here. That's going to be wallet tooltip line 45. What's on up with that? Wallet item of that. Okay, this is actually another example of that same problem that we were seeing before, and that's this. So actually, that's fine. So we can say if this, no, if this, then that, otherwise that. Let's give that a try. Now that's fascinating. Because it does work. Line 49. Yeah. I was doing the wrong thing there. Okay. Gotta actually delete the thing that I'm replacing. There we go. Okay. So what's going on with the rest of it? Don't show. That's funny. We can put it back. Now it's showing. So what I'm going to do is, yeah, that's fine. Reload it. Is I'm going to restore the value here. So we're back to plugin data. We're going to go ahead and delete the active stuff. Can't do that because it's loaded in here. And copy this on over and then bring that file back. Okay, so what I want to do is just have it saved in this buffer here so that I can easily restore it. Okay, actually easily save it off maybe. Download. So what I'm going to do is in here, we're going to go ahead and select that. And in my downloads, I'm going to go ahead and select that. And we can see, oh, that's not going to work because the ordering is always different. Well, it'll be a start. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and load in TitanBar and then unload and see what's different. Okay, we can see. Hang on a sec. Destiny points is not there, but marks. Skirmish marks. XY is that. False. Not shown. Why are these things defaulting? That's so strange. Let's get some diagnostics in here. So, turbine.shell.writeLine transitioning currency, and that is going to be key. From key to, and then we'll go ahead and concatenate in the image ID. So I want to see that, and okay, so we're going to replace that. What else? We're doing an update, and then in here, all this hard-coded stuff, but currency, initialize control setting. So that default control setting is possibly what's going on. Let's at least look at this. Okay, so the check was bad. Okay, classic Jurassic Park failure. I looked at the Destiny Point replacement, but I didn't look at all the other ones. So we have, Jurassic Park failure. In the book, I don't think this was really covered in the movie so much, but they had software that was checking for the dinosaur population, and it was only looking for missing dinosaurs. So it was looking for however many dinosaurs, 1,000 dinosaurs. And if the automatic sensors found 1,000 dinosaurs, it stopped looking. And if you removed that cap, it kept finding more and more dinosaurs because they were breeding. Spoilers. And so I assumed that my code worked and that only the Destiny was changing. They were all changing, but after that changing, they got default initialized back because those entries were missing. And so if I had looked for any of these things that had been looking for this description anywhere, I would have seen that there were 26 of them instead of just one. But I stopped counting when I hit the 1. Classic mistake. Missing the fact that this logic that I thought was good for this was wrong. Whoops. Okay. It's funny, when you're reading the book, it's like, why would you ever make that mistake? But, it happens. Like, of course, there's only going to be one thing that was transitioned. I wrote it that way. Okay. So what we're looking for is key. Oh. We're not looking for it not being in there. We're looking for toNumber of that. Is currency transitioned equals that. That's going to be nil if it's not a number. I think that's the code that we saw. Yep, toNumber. That'll be nil if it's a string. That's what we want. I'm just going to get rid of the not. Oops. It's not really necessary. Okay, so let's go ahead and fix our save file that has been Jurassic Parked. And there we go. All the stuff is there. So let's go ahead and unload and we can see what happened. So if we look for a description, Destiny None of them are being transitioned now. Well, that's better. Okay, let's take a look at this. Turbine.shell.WriteLine. Currency values is setting present. You know what? Going back to that. And then is currency transitioned. And I'm wrapping these in dump because Lua does not like concatenating Boolean values, which I think is feels like a flaw in the language. It makes diagnostic messages harder. Okay, we did not go through the update because I forgot to restore the save file version. So let's just go ahead and do that. Great. Okay, so we can see is currency transitioned. I want to see what value we're passing in there. And that's going to be key. Okay. Gunther says, you created your account, and now it won't let me log in. Won't let me reset your password. Any suggestions? I haven't tried to create an account recently, but the first thing I would wonder is, did they send you an email saying, like, is this email valid? And you need to click a link in there to kind of authenticate that someone's looking at that email address. Sometimes it can take a few minutes for new accounts to kind of be in the system. So if you just created new username and password and you're sure that you're typing them in correctly, you might wait a minute or two, especially if the game is downloading and patching. Those are the first three things that come to mind. Is, are there any emails sitting waiting for you to click a link saying yes, that's an email? Obviously, double checking your username and password. I'm hoping that you've done that already. But then, yeah, give it a minute, just in case it's just still updating in some system somewhere. Now, if you wait a couple of minutes and it still doesn't work, I guess I would say you would almost certainly receive an email when the account is created to the email that you gave them. So if you don't see that email yet, it may just be running a little bit behind. Just wait a few minutes anyway. But if you got an email to the address that you registered, then certainly something in the system is working. I haven't actually tried to create an account in a while. I assume it is working. But yeah, let me know, Gunther, how that goes with those steps. Okay, what's going on? Is currency in transition? We have a bunch of nil, so destiny points. What am I writing wrong here? Destiny points is... Oh. Is currency transitioned? I was dumping the key, of course. Wait, I was right. Just asking if currency is transitioned. Yeah, hang on. Let's do that. Let's do that. Such long text. Okay. Is currency transitioned? Is true, 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 true. That doesn't work. Okay, well, let's find destiny at least. Destiny points is also true. How? How can that be? Yeah, Gunther, Little Redhead's instinct is also double checking your email. So, yeah, definitely a good place to start. Okay, so. Okay, we did get an email. Awesome. Let's see. When I made a new account, did I get a confirmation email? Let's see. Yes, new account information. Welcome. Quick reference guide. Oh man, yeah, it has a link to this old thing. And I got an account name and an email in that email, and that was a couple of years ago. But I would hope that that's pretty similar. Are you, Gunther, able to access the... Okay, you see that link too. Awesome. Are you able to access the myaccount.standingstonegames.com page separate from the LOTRO launcher? That's where I would kind of go to for account management things. And if you are already there and this is the place where you are not able to do the forgot your password thing, then that is weird to me after you've done the I'm not a robot thing. Because forgotten your password, I would have expected that to do something. But you got me curious. I haven't made an account in a while. As Little Redhead pointed out, we're not really technical support people on this channel for streaming purposes. We don't have any behind-the-scenes ability to help people, and so beyond some basic diagnostics, like did you turn it off and on again, we don't have the ability to really peer under the covers to see what's going on with your account. We're just off the dome here, just thinking about things. Like Arthur, are you sure you're not a robot? Just what a robot would say. That is to say, if we are not able to help you, there are people who, oh no, my verification expired. I am a robot. There are people who are able to, who have better tools for this kind of thing. So that's why I Little Red put that in there, just so you don't get that you aren't made sad by our inability to help. Okay, so I'm curious, what does this look like in this day and age? Okay, so don't have an account. Sure, I don't have an account. Click here. Sign up. All right, if I type a password, is it going to show everyone what my password is? Sure. I'll just move that off screen for the email address. Do I accept their policies? Sure. Do I sign up for stuff? No. Am I a robot? No! I keep telling you. Oh, it did not like my password. That's funny. Must be 8 to 15 characters in length. You're killing me, Standing Stone Games. That's a problem I actually have with banks sometimes. Like, you need a super secure password, maximum length 20 characters. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you know what year this is? Oh, and cannot. Oh, it doesn't like the special characters I've got. Classic. It's one of those easy ways to fix database issues is don't allow those characters, but I feel like there are better ways to do that. Okay, so I did get a thank you download to start playing. So now I'm curious what happens if I go to myaccount.standingstonegames.com with that information. I'm not a robot. Log on in. Oh, awesome. No, I don't want to save that. Cool. I have refreshed my memory of what it's like to make an account. I was curious. It's been years since I have made my last music playing alt account. And, you know, we can always use another Hubnanigans player, right? Cool. Excellent. I'm a guest for Shadows of Angmar. Nice. Okay. Gunther says, turns out I had to close and open the launcher again after downloading the game. Awesome. I love simple solutions like turning it off and on again when they work, even if it's kind of infuriating why they work under the covers. But I'm glad to hear that you're able to get in. But I was curious. Again, I'm not support, but it's sometimes useful to have recent experience with something like creating an account, which for some LOTRO players was like 15 years ago, right? It's useful to have that just because, yeah, account creation, we want people to be able to create accounts and play the game. Simon says, salutations, hello from France. Well, hello from a country that technically shares a border with you, the Netherlands. As long as you go to the Caribbean to find it. Okay. So what was going on with this? That lookup table. In this table, the lookup value is not a string. Or is it? What's going on with currencies? Is it going to be a number? What if it was a number? And if that's the case, in settings, the currency of image ID, what does that look like? We're going to go ahead and restore the old save file. Okay, and what do we have here? Is currently transitioned, bunch of nils. Destiny points is the only one I care about. What's going on here? Okay, so Destiny. There we go. What am I missing? This setting present is fine, and I've stopped caring about its value. Is currency transition. We're dumping the key. Okay. Cool. Let's look at that. So, bring this on in. Destiny point. You know what? I really am not concerned about the rest of these right now. If key equals destiny points, then do this output. Okay. I feel like I'm putting more trouble than it's worth into this specific thing. I'm just mystified as to why I need to. Currencies, destiny points. Okay. That's there. 250. Sure, not. I don't think that'll actually help here because we are getting nil for that value. Don't press escape. You need that thing. Okay. Is currency transitioned is false. Well, at least we're getting a Boolean instead of a nil. But why is it false? Well, let's go ahead and, just for kicks, turbine.shell.writeline, and this is going to be currencies. And we're going to dump out the currencies table. Okay, so currencies, we can see, oh no. It got me. We need to initialize a table in Lua, and this is just something I'm not used to from C++, C#, other modern brace C derivatives. These things in the currencies table are implicitly indexed sequentially. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 equals the thing. You cannot look up the entry like this. But we have an isCurrency bucket just for this purpose that I created last time that I should be using. And this is why debug output is so useful. So, in line 250 or so, we actually wanted to say equals isCurrency of image ID. So simple, so infuriating that I forgot about that. Do better, me. Okay. Hey, look. Transitioned is true. Do better, me. I will do better next time. Okay. So, Destiny. We can see that one was converted. And if we search for 1-0. Nothing else was. Fix the Jurassic Park assumption. Cool. So we can go ahead and, all right, so it's like 42 in total. We can go ahead and move forward with this. Getting rid of some of these output statements. All right, updating setting file to version 1.1. Now, problem is to do reinstate check for v1.0. Oops. The problem is we need to do this every time right now. But it's okay for it to rerun. In fact, I have prematurely deleted, yeah, that one, transitioning currency. I like that one. So we're going to go ahead and to do reinstate after testing. So we can see that we get the updating TitanBar to version 1.1 when we're loading, but it's not updating any other currencies in the save file, and that's perfect. So if we search for one, we can see that's the only one there. So with that, let's go ahead and save off where we are at. Okay, so what are we doing here? We are in better currencies. This is actually where we start to make some meaningful changes. So we're going to save off our in work, and we're going to actually start a branch here, if we can. So star feature off of better currencies called updating key to image ID. Now that the branch is created, we can go ahead and get all those changes back. And here, we're going to go ahead and say account for image, key being the image ID. So that's this right here, and then in here as well. And I think the rest of these were just changes of that key. We'll get those in a separate commit. Cool. Okay. Update save files keys with image IDs. v1.0 to v1.1. Note, several development things in here that need to be tweaked before release. Just a note to myself if I ever read it, or anyone else who looks at this. And that's going to be update characters if necessary. And you know what? I will keep this comment. Yeah, it could be a separate commit. So we want everything here except that comment. Great. Commented function with new discovery. That's fine. Okay, so destiny points, all the rest of this should be the conversion of that destiny points. Fantastic. So all of that is just converted destiny point key to image ID. And that's going to be kind of the theme of the next umpteen minutes as we replicate that change across everything else and deal with issues as they come up. But really what we want to see is after we do one of these, we can refresh, reload, and we'll see the message of any currencies that update as a result of our change. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and we have our lookup table. Awesome. Let's go ahead and come on up here to currencies. So shards equals, and then we need to do a hybrid here of the image ID value. So real question is, have we overwritten anything else? So if we do a find all references, nope, find all references on here, I think we're going to find just the ones that we added in. Cool. Okay, so shards, we want to go ahead and find every, quote, shards that there is. Okay, we're going to have to make sure we avoid any changes to this lookup table. And I'm just visually kind of refreshing my memory of what I'm looking at as we do each one. Okay, so what we're expecting to see is this lookup table. And what I almost certainly accidentally did is, oh no, okay, I got it all. What was I thinking? Hang on. I thought there was one where I did like a destiny points equals destiny points that I was unhappy with. I did get these all right. All right, well, let's take a look. Remember to hit save all. Factory. Shards, yeah. Shards, all of that. Shards, and currencies, and not used in monster play. Great. So let's take a look. What do shards look like besides the obvious? All right, there are these things here. They're listed up here. I've got 17,000 of them. That's not helpful anymore, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and do a reload. First thing we see is it's in the same place, nothing visually changed, and we can see transitioning currency from shards to its new image ID. All right, let's take a look at that. Shards. Not going to work because I need to unload the plugin to get the file to change. So we can see the new description equals shards, and we have a number here. Awesome. And we can keep doing it. So, I wonder if I could collapse anything more. Yeah. So these are a little bit easier. Okay. So general idea is we're going to do that for each one of these. So hopefully it gets pretty turnkey. So converted shards key to image ID. Shards, and shards. Done. Next up, skirmish marks. Now, ultimately, I'm hoping most of these disappear, and only the ones that are useful for those tables that are saying, oh, skirmish marks have a different size or adjustment, something customized about it, those will stay into play. But I'm hoping most of these are in fact useless. And the only thing they're useful for is the is currency check right now, which will become different over time. So this might actually be about where we start seeing that. All right, skirmish marks. Can't do that. Great. Don't forget to save all. And, well, I unloaded it, but what we want to see is from skirmish marks to whatever. And that's right here. We can see lots of skirmish marks, 94,000. I feel like I should probably spend some of those one of these days. Do we get those during epic battles? Is that why I've been getting so many of those? I think I need to upgrade my soldier. Okay. I'm gonna make a note of that actually. Update skirmish soldier. Upgrade. Okay. So, what do we have here? We have the same thing, and we're just gonna, use the same thing. Skirmish marks key to image ID. Skirmish marks, marks, and marks. Great. We're gonna go ahead and push out this branch. So we've got a branch off of our branch, and we'll merge that into the better currencies branch once we've kind of gotten the sense that this is the right path forward. If it's not, we just toss it away. Okay, neat. We're gonna do the next one. MithrilCoins equals something or another. Now, one of the things I'm hoping this lets us do is actually get rid of this table completely. Because at that point, if you have the key to look something up in this table, you will, by definition, have the value, the image ID right there. So, again, one of the goals of this is deleting code that I don't want to exist. Okay, so, MithrilCoin. We're going to find everything that is, quote, MithrilCoin, unquote. To do. Okay, we're getting there. Thank you, to-do file. In fact, I want to maybe unpin you for a minute. Just for space here. Index. Key. Yeah, okay. You know what? I don't think that. Let's do that instead. There we go. Nope, don't touch that lookup table. The 6 that are in the language files are pretty much always going to be fine as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so we have the, my goodness, save all. Don't open those up in a different window. I got a new mouse, and the middle mouse wheel clicking action is very rough. It's a Corsair or something or another. I'm not sure. I'd have to double check. But the middle mouse wheel, for one thing, it doesn't have the tilting left and right buttons, which I have gotten really used to for back and forward in a browser, for instance, being able to bind them in LOTRO as mouse 4 and 5, I think. So the fact that it has the 12 key on the thumb side of things, so I can activate the skills, that's cool. But it's not what I call an upgrade at this point. What is this? And however, they stopped manufacturing the one I'm actually using. The Corsair Scimitar. I was using a Logitech G600, I think, but apparently that's out of production because, well, I don't know. So the Corsair Scimitar does have that 12 key pad on the side, but yeah, the way the mouse wheel works, not a fan. Okay, that's good. There we go. So, making sure. And we just did MithrilCoins, so we know what that looks like. It's right here. I have 701 apparently, and still do. Okay. So we upgraded MithrilCoins. Awesome. What's next? Yule tokens is what it looks like. So Yule tokens equals, and we're going to come grab that number. Great. But before I do that, should come on in, MithrilCoins, 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 and we want to just take MithrilCoins, and that is fine, and that is fine. Now we can do the yield token. Great. So let's find all of those yield tokens. All right, so save all. And then yield tokens, we have them right here. So we're going to go ahead and reload. Everything's good. We can see transitioning yield token. Great. Let's go ahead and get that committed. Yield token. We can see that here, here, there, and there, and here. Perfect. Yeah. Next. Do I feel like there's a way to automate this in a way that wouldn't make me uncomfortable, because I wouldn't be like, what's going on here? I don't know. Okay, so most of these are not going to have much in the way of customization values, so we're going to see a lot of the same positions. Now, one of the things that's interesting is that there is this currencies, and then we have currencies not used in monster play. Which is interesting, because it really feels like it should be currencies used in monster play, maybe. I don't know if monster tokens are in the data files that I have. I'll have to think about that. In fact, let me put that in the to-do file. All right, save all, close that one. That was actually accidentally opened. Come into the to-do file and say, are monster wallet items in the data files? If so, we should split them out so that only monsters load those and only free peoples load the others. Awesome. Close that. Did I complete what I was doing there? I think the answer is yes. So that's Hidbolt tokens. Hidbolt tokens, those look like this. I have 399. So let's go ahead and reload this. That did not work. But why not? Because I changed this like a person who should not have done. All right, we're going to restore that. Nope, can't do that. I'm going to restore it now. Bring it on in. And we can see all of those got transitioned, and Hidbolt tokens are back. I was busy musing and changed a thing that I should not have changed. Okay. Is there a way I can fix that? I need it to be there. Yeah, there is a way I can do that, actually. Hang on. Okay. Not recommended necessarily for production code, but we can use string concatenation to fool this. So if we just do this, then it will, under the covers, be the same key value, but Visual Studio Code will stop having problems. To do restore the unconcatenated keys here. Yeah. But, you know, it's a solution to the problem. All right. So, Hidbolt tokens are done. Tweaked old key names so we don't find them in find replace operations. So we're going to go ahead and commit this and nothing else, but then we should be able to do just a hid bold tokens. Awesome. We'll include the to-do file update in that. Okay, good. Medallions. And medallions are going to equal, of course, this. All right, so doing the search, and now ideally only the things that we're going to change will show up. And indeed, we did not see the one we just made a change of. So we're going to go ahead and save all. I don't remember what medallions. Oh, that one. Okay. Reload. It's there. We can see the currency transitioned. Great. Medallions. Okay. Do the next one. If I thought these were going to be long for this world, and they may still be, I'd be interested in having them all be in a table or maybe in a, have a namespace, a prefix kind of thing. Like currency destiny points, currency hidable tokens or something. So that's still a thing that I'm thinking about, is what this looks like eventually. But I'm also cognizant that a lot of this hopefully gets deleted as we go, and this is just like a temporary state of being. But it's a thought in my head. I saw one there that I wasn't expecting, or was unusual, I should say. So let's pull that up in source control. Now this is going to be seals? Okay. Oh, that's weird. Okay. I'm not convinced that's a reasonable code to exist, but we'll put that into the to-do file to look at later once we've done more of this. So let's open up to-do. Consider if this is still good code in whatever that was, wallet tooltip. Okay. That's a later problem. Okay. Did we actually reload seals? I don't think we did. All right, seals is visible. We can see seals was transitioned. Good. Okay, so that seals, great. Okay. I guess that's one reason why I don't mind doing this manually instead of trying to find some way to automate it, is there are sometimes these little bits of code that make me go, huh. Okay. How did I skip something? Recommendations equals. Okay, so we're going to find all of these. if the player is not a free peoples, then we're restricting them to commendations and LOTRO points. So what is the point of the other thing, which was currencies not used in monster play? What is this? We're in the main form. Hang on a second. We're setting the show to false for things. But this is durability, equipment, vault, shared storage, reputation. Why do we care? Like, if they turn something on, how would they even turn it on? I don't understand what this is or why this is. Back to the do file. If we only show commendations and where is this? And LOTRO points, okay. And LOTRO points in monster play. See, that is main.lua menu items. Nope, just menu item. Why does this exist in from main.lua? Okay, that's a problem for tomorrow. Not really tomorrow, but you know. Cool. That's weird. Commendations. Fixing these now. Awesome. Saving all. I don't think I have any commendations, since this is not a PvP enabled server. But let's go ahead and reload that. Yeah, transitioning currency from combinations. Cool. There it is. I've got 0 of them, as expected. Okay, so we want to go ahead and converted commendations. Key to Minjadi. Commendations. What was that? Yeah, okay. And we want commendations, but we don't want the emerald silver pieces yet. Great. LOTRO points. Some people pronounce LOTRO, and this is not a ding at anyone who does that, but it sounds very different to my ears than what I'm expecting. Okay, so we're searching for that. You know what, I'm just going to go ahead and delete those quotes there. Can we have little tables? I guess we must. Okay. Okay, this is a place where we have to be a little bit careful. Because there's a little bit less of the genericized nature for LOTRO points. So like the names of the files, we can't replace that with the image ID, because the file names themselves haven't changed. So there's a lot of this hard coding of the type where there wasn't that before. And then back to the language. Okay. I think I got everything that I should and nothing that I shouldn't, but that's why we're going to review this change in isolation. So, we're doing LOTRO points. That's well, we're going to test this first, but I'm collecting the things that I think are correct. Okay. Yep. LOTRO points. Yeah, that too. That's fine. And then we go ahead and test it before I actually commit that. Because look at that. So we have a settings line 65. Let's go take a look at that. Table index is nil. I don't think it is. It is, because has window and does not have where needs to go after these are defined. Okay, is it that simple? No. All right, let's figure out what broke LOTRO points 24. Yeah, that'll do it. Okay, these are your LOTRO points. Reload. And let's go check out that file. So LOTRO points has been converted. Awesome. And nothing else remains in here. And if we searched for 123, we wouldn't find it because that's stored in a different file. Right. Okay. Yeah, so coming back in, what did we miss? We missed that the set background was not unified in that way. That's fine. We missed that these needed to move. And I want to do that first, actually. So we're going to stage that, stage this. Moved table declarations after location of variables used in as table keys. Cool. That's all that is. And then I think we can do the rest of these. Just double checking one more time. I guess that would be technically triple checking. Rechecking. Rechecking. No. Oh, yes. Great. Okay, so getting rid of that. Converted LOTRO points key to image. There we go. Oh, that's funny. Oh well. I think I wrote my text somewhere I wasn't expecting because that was weird. All right, but coming back into the settings, we have Emerald silver pieces, and we can finally do this. Okay, so Emerald silver piece. Stop your search for something, please. That's strange. We're just going to relaunch Visual Studio Code there. Okay, so Emerald silver piece. Yeah, I bet an error occurred. Emerald silver piece was used in a couple of sample expository comments. So we're going to see that in here as well. So, Emerald silver piece, we've got here, here, 1, 2, 3, there, and there. Oh, you know, I committed that. I was supposed to actually look, do I have Emerald silver pieces now? I do have Emerald silver pieces. We've just gotten into that area of the world. So what do those look like? Here they are. They've got the White Tree of Gondor. Excellent. And they're still here. We can see currency transitioned. All right. It's weirding me out that the two taskbar buttons aren't next to each other, so just reload those. And same thing. Let's come on into our local changes. Oh, I committed them before I was tested them. Right. Okay, so next up. I'm going to make that smaller. And maybe that wider. Stars of Merit. Cool. Do it all over again. Super easy. Stars of Merit, I've got 230. And still showing. Transitioning, great. I think we've reached the smoother part of the process. Okay, Central Gondor, Central Silver Pieces of Gondor. I'm pretty sure I don't have any of those because I haven't reached Central Gondor on this server. But if I did, they'd look like a swan, the famous symbol of Dol Amroth in Western Gondor. What are you gonna do? Maybe there's swans in Central Gondor. Okay, so that's all of those. We're going to go ahead and save all, come back in, and reload Still seeing the settings preserved. It's still in the bar, and we can see that it was transitioned in chat. So, coming back into our source control. Yeah, good. Okay, well, I can see that we've run a little long today already. So while I finish up the rest of these currencies, now's a great time if you have any last minute questions, comments, concerns, to get them into chat so we can talk about them before the end of the stream. Because I think I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then probably that'll be a good place to end the stream for tonight, and then we'll pick it up next week where we left off. Okay, that being said, gift givers brands. I do actually have some of those because while I haven't defeated any roving threats, I have found hidden treasures of Angmar and so on, and those deeds give you some gift givers brands. Okay, save all. And that's going to be these 36 eye things. Yep, everything's good. Currency transitioned. Back to source control. Perfect. Okay, next up. Bingo badges. This is one of those situations where the limited number of currencies in TitanBar is actually kind of a benefit because it results in a number of them that is manageable to do manually. Just enough of them where I'm like, okay, that's a bit too many, but it's still manageable. I can still do it. I can say I forgot to actually declare the bingo variable. If there were too many more hard-coded ones, I would definitely be looking for that. How do I make this a little bit more automated, even at the sacrifice of possibly missing some things? As it is, it's not too bad. Okay, so everything is saved, save all, and then we're going to go ahead and find our bingo badges. Got 189. Should double check that I got all the cosmetic pets that I wanted. And perfect. So let's go ahead and get those committed. Of course, I contaminated my buffer. Okay, here we go. Bingo badge, bingo badge, bingo badge, bingo badge, and bingo badge. Great. So, anniversary tokens. So, same thing. Find everything with the quotes and go. Now, one thing I note is that there's some really nice comments here that would have been great as actual entries in this UI. You know, coin, currency, instance, skirmishes, festivals, and events. Why wouldn't you give us some indication of how these are divided? I think that would have been really neat. Also, maybe a comment saying, please put these in alphabetical order, although that changes per language, so that way lies madness. But at least it would have been really neat to see those visuals. Visually separated in that listing. But then you do have to kind of account for that in your code, that there can be, you know, kind of fake entries in there. So it does make things a little bit more complicated. Okay, so that's all the anniversary token updates. Anniversary tokens are, what, here? Yep, 65 of them. Bam. Converted. So let's come on over to source control, get that message, replace the key name, and token, 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 and the maintenance file, which again, we're trying, the ultimate goal is to delete most of that, but we're not quite there yet. Well, the maintenance notes for adding a new currency, that is. Okay, modes of enchantment. We're going to go ahead and find all of those. Nope, all of those. Cool. Modes of enchantment. Right, should actually add this so I don't get the squiggles. Now, I am noticing that some of these hex values have uppercase letters. It is merely a stylistic choice which you actually use. Consistency, I think, is the driving point, though. The rest of these have lowercase letters, and personally, I find it easier to notice that something is a hex number in code if those letters are lowercase instead of uppercase. Uppercase, they resemble numbers, and maybe that's useful because they are just a different digit. But just as a standing out point, not only is it starting with 0x, x also lowercase, but any of the letters that do show up are also lowercase to emphasize that to me. I think that's just very much a stylistic thing, though. If you're used to seeing them in uppercase, obviously, go nuts. And they appear in both in this code, which is fun. Okay, modes of enchantment are done. Let's find that up here. Those are embers of enchantments, figments of splendor. Motes are all the way over here. I've got 5, apparently. Yeah. Okay, and I just moved it a little bit just to test, and everything was still good. So, let's go ahead and get that committed. I think I spent them down the last time the curator changed on new cosmetic pets. Okay. And next up, Embers of Enchantment. Okay. Embers of Enchantment, which is the red one. We'll go ahead and reload. Alright, it's still there. Currency, Embers of Enchantment updated. Let's move on. Okay. Next up, Figments of Splendor. Cool. Let's find all of those. Alright, that was Figments of Splendor. That's the sparkly one. Still there. Updated. Perfect. We're definitely in the repetition section of the work, where there aren't too many exceptions anymore. These were added well after the initial author, I expect, stopped doing their work. And so all those little customizations that some of the early currencies have I feel like they've fallen by the wayside, or there wasn't a need for it. Fall Festival tokens next. You know what? I can see that we're starting to get uppercase lettering here. Just going to go ahead and pull off this stuff into its own little buffer, create a new buffer, and then just select all, convert case to lowercase, cut it back into that buffer, and then bring this back into the source. And then I'm going to stop copying those values over. Okay, so embers, figments, and fall festival tokens. So one of the problems is I'm not entirely sure. But I suspect that doesn't matter because these numbers are getting resolved as just numbers. This is just a representational thing. If we go into this file, we can see these are represented as decimal numbers in the save file. So this is a representational thing, but fixed cases on hex numbers. We're going to go ahead and commit that. And then this is also the case in the TV resources. Have I? Sec. Don't want that. Okay. Great. And then this one, if we go ahead and open it up in something that understands minor changes, we can see that they're all just case changes and nothing of real substance there. Okay. Let's do Fall Festival token. Cool. Save all. And we'll come on in here. Fall Festival tokens. Can I see them? There we are. 547. Let's reload. There we go. And update it. Right. Yes, yes, and yes. Wait, no. One too many. Okay, the next one is Farmer's Fair token. Cool. And here, let's find all of those. I'm double clicking too fast, opening up new windows. Don't need them. Okay, so Farmer's Fair tokens are, oh, the fishy ones. Cool. Reload. Missed it. 1,463. Transition complete. All right. So, Farmer's Fair, Farmer's Fair, Farmer's Fair, Farmer, and Farmer's Fair. Cool. Springleaf. So close. All right, find all of the Springleaf with quotations. We can see we've only got a couple left. Great. Whew. That was spring leaves. We can see them over here, 969 of them. Let's go ahead and refresh. Great. Still there, and transition complete. Certainly, there we go. And coming on in here with a distinct message. Back in here, Midsummer tokens. So we've got Midsummer token. Find and replace. Great. Midsummer token looks like this little leafy thing. So we'll go ahead and reload. I have two because I was testing what happens if you spend down to 0 in probably TitanBar, maybe Festival Buddy also. One of them was not handling it right. I think TitanBar. Okay, we can see if we move that around a little bit and reload, saves its position. Great. So we can come on in here, get that committed. And again, you could do all of these commits or all of these changes as one commit totally. but I find it much easier to reason about the changes in isolation, where I'm not trying to figure out, okay, there's 73 things different in this file. They're probably all right. But I find it much easier to convince myself that I've actually looked at the changes. Like, what's going on here? The default value for the specified setting. Fun. Okay, we can see there's defaults here. Okay. So that was ancient script. We can see I have 8,310, so we're just going to reload that. It's there, and transitioning currency. Great. Yeah, those things that are exceptions feel much easier to analyze in isolation. There's a lot of these irregular ones, but I don't really know if it's going to be a regular or an exception until it's kind of too late to do the check. Not really too late, but yeah, I find it much easier to not have to kind of go back and redo my changes one at a time in some fashion. Okay. So this was badge of taste. We have 375 of them. So let's reload that. Yep, we can still see 375 and transitioning badge of taste. Fantastic. Okay. Coming in to the last one, maybe? Well, except for the exceptions. We'll take a look at them next. All right, badge of dishonor. Okay, so we're going to save all of that. Badge of dishonor, again, 375. And, oh, there's a problem. What's going on here? Didn't see it changing. Badge of dishonor should have been in there. Badge of, not just badge. Badge of dishonor is still in there. But why? What's going on there? Okay, just curious. We double check these. They are the same. Oh, yeah, that's not right. That got truncated, the very last one. I don't know why that was. You know what? I'm seeing that same problem here with cases. And for consistency's sake, let's go ahead and think about doing something about that. But first, let's go ahead and get this change in after we double check it. Reload. Okay, we can see the transitioning, yes. And we preserved those old values in a way that we might not have. Okay, so. And we need to have that. Yeah, all of that. fixed bad badge of dishonor icon ID, image ID. Okay, and then in here, we're going to go ahead and find everything that is equals and after, put it into a new buffer. In this buffer, we're going to go ahead and convert that case to lowercase, cut it, put it back, and then put this back into code. That was this. There we go. So we can, again, double check that with something that understands minor case changes and verify that only capitalization changed. Cool. It's possible this also has some idea of minor stuff. Hidden symbols, word wrap, no, decrease, no, entire file, side by side. Ignore white spaces, but not ignore case changes. So, just variety tools. Normalized hex numbers to lowercase. Alright, just gonna push off those other 12 changes. Cool, so in settings, what do we have left? Right now, wallet and money are special. And I don't even think they exist here. Yeah, because there's multiple money icons for the money. So this thing, what's in this thing probably would have been a better, less frustrating experience than having wallet and money in currencies. Money is a currency and wallet is related to currencies. So, oh well, anyway, all the generic stuff, all the things that are genericized are in place now. And we have the capacity to do this update later. But money doesn't have a singular icon. And the wallet, while it does have a singular icon, is different enough that I'm not worried about it. So what do we have here? We have updated most of the entries that are in the save file so that they're using... I don't like that it's a I don't like that it's has decimal numbers in there, and there's a way to fix it, mostly just by using the patch data file save and load. But vendor's patch, if it's not already a part of the code base, that's a little out of scope for what we're doing right now, and I'm assuming it is not in here. Why are you talking about vendor patch when you do not use vendor patch? Comments that boggle my mind. Don't know. Okay. We have done what we set out to do. Coming up to the to-do file. Change key from friendly names, wallet, MithrilCoins, etc. to the image ID in preparation for arbitrary items. Yes. Done. Once that's done, can we kill all references to predefined lists of keys? Maybe. For instance, wallet item here. Let's find all of those again now that we're here. So, image key is... Fine. Yeah, let's do it. So we're going to hoist this back out and just say key. This is a wallet control factory. Let's see if that seems reasonable. Okay. Everything still seems intact. Tooltips still work. Where else was this used? All right. table icon set background of wallet item of key of icon. Oh, this is a generic currency sample, but that's okay. We'll fix it anyway. Wallet item, and again, this is menu item. Yeah, but menu item. Let's go to menu item here. Menu item has everything updated except for money. But we are in a block that says if it's not money, then do a thing. And so therefore, it is safe to say this is that. Let's give that a look. And this is the list box. So we're going to need to put something else into the wallet tooltip list box. So let's go ahead and change spring leaf in the tooltip, and we'll put money in the tooltip just to test that case. Okay, so we can see at the spring leaf we have the money. Neat. And in here, everything's fine so far. Okay, wallet item. Don't see it. So that means we can come to TB resources, find things in the maintenance document. Okay, it's definitely not that. Okay, that's wallet items, Jim. TitanBar maintenance. Search for G wallet item. Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. Nope. Gone. The actual thing. Gone. And these other wallet items, actually we want the whole word. Cool. That's fine. Wallet item get name, yep, that's fine. That's an actual wallet item. And you know what? We could just add a documentation thing here. If entry is missing in player currency handler, creates it. And this is actually a wallet item. So that means when we hover over it, we can see these functions. When we look at get name, we should be able to see, yes, it returns a string, which means currency, IntelliSense can kind of work through and say, okay, what are we doing here? Currency named a key, though. Okay, yeah, we're looking in currencies. Oh, that's fascinating. Do we have? Okay, yeah, we're going to need to keep making some changes. Need to find a code that uses things like currency named key and fix it, since we no longer and address how it uses those keys. Okay, what is this? Currency named a key. We know we need a lookup for the key. Oh, but that's fine, because we fixed those entries. Possibly fine. Okay, we'll just look into that. We'll look into that. Okay. Cool. So we have probably a key from that lookup because some of these currency named keys are using L. Whose indexes are those IDs? And this is being initialized with that. Okay. Yes, that can work. Cool. A lot of this needs to be changed anyway once we get rid of that lookup table. Cool. So we're storing the handler based off of the currency name. I think that is not necessary anymore. So can we store currency entries in player currency handler by image ID question mark? Okay, neat. Okay, still have stuff. Character save files need to be updated from key to ID. This is being done. Before saving, make sure each wallet has a placeholder name. Yep, done. Done for converted items. Converted plugin data files, add description with old key. Done. When adding new currencies to save file, add description key with the wallet item get name value. For unknown items. Actually, it doesn't even matter because it'll be the same. Okay. Cool. So we've reviewed the to-do. Some of the stuff that we were working on today, definitely done. Some follow-on stuff that needs to happen to make sure we're working through the transition process. But this is a tremendous amount of progress. What do we got here? Oh, yeah. There's a tremendous amount of progress towards being able to support arbitrary values from your wallet. The goal being that eventually, sure, maybe we have a list of predefined items, especially anything in the festival. Maybe it makes more sense to come to these data files, wherever they are. Data, there we go. Maybe it makes more sense that for those things that are in the festival key, like fall festival tokens, if that's category 13, does it? Well, I hit the wrong keyboard combination there. Does it make sense to include everything in category 13? Probably not, because like faultless geos, pristine geos, cracked geos, those are specific festivals. So I can understand having a list of especially if there are categories here. Like here's all the tokens for the various festivals. Here's the tokens for whatever that section is, the currency tokens. Um, Iron Garrison resource tokens? Probably not. Universal ingredient packs? Probably, right? So going through here and kind of culling out a kind of a default value list of things, like that has some merit, like a minimized version of this view or a minimal version of this view. But having it just default to everything in your wallet maybe is the right move anyway. So I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Neat. So yes, next week we're going to go ahead and continue working what we've just done, which is, can we basically get rid of these lists of IDs, except in the case where they are being used for customization. Those language strings, I would like to get rid of them. Right now, the tooltips are using the pluralized version of those, and I'm just going to rework that string so it uses the singular version. These are your Farmers Fair tokens. Don't care. Farmers Fair token. And maybe even the number of them or something. Farmers Fair token : 1463. I don't know, because the pluralization, it's not worth it for to keep those hard-coded values. So when we're able to eliminate those, then we can just look at the value from the wallet item itself and delete more stuff. I get very excited when we can delete stuff, and I think next week's going to include a lot of that. What we just did here is just a taste. So I'm going to go ahead and commit this, and then that'll be the end of today's stream. So TB resources, we can say deleted wallet item table holding image IDs. Currency image IDs. So that was that. And here, we'll come back to that. Yep, I've deleted that. And the wallet item there. Yep. And there. Also, add a function comment block for this. Great. Commit that. Push it out. I missed one in the other one, so we're going to go ahead and push that out also. Okay, so reloading, just verify everything looks good. Tooltips look good on everything. Hover over here, we get our tooltips here, which includes money and not money for contrast. On the face of it, we didn't break anything. Super exciting. If we come into the save file, one thing we can do is we can look for that description tag. We can see 26 of them. That sounds like an expected number. We can pull all those out. Go ahead and sort them. And these all look very much like what we were looking at. The normal number of 28 includes the wallet itself and money, and those are excluded from here for just the 26 built-in currencies. That's super cool. And we have that ability to make a progressive update to the file. So now that we've done all of these, let's go ahead and add to the to-do. Now that the 26 currencies are updated in my local save file, remove the progressive abilities of the v1.0 to v1.1 update code in settings.lua, I believe. Okay, fantastic. Well, where are my notes? Yeah. Well, that's it. That's all we're going to cover today. on Plugging Along. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration of LOTRO plugins. I hope to see you all here next week, and until then, keep plugging along. All right, bye-bye now.